Please be good. Bro, look at the frame rate on the windmill. It's so bad. I want a refund. I've found a flamingo. This is now a good video game. Never mind. Ever since the move to Switch, Pokemon has released a glorified 3DS title, a soulless mobile game, and Legends of Steam Early Access. But with the release of Orange and Grapes, we finally inch closer to a modern home console Pokemon experience. We're still not there yet, but you have to remember that Game Freak is a small, indie studio, so cut them some slack. Right off the bat, you're stuck in a 2-hour-long hand-holding tutorial. But once that's over, the world is free for you to fuck around in whatever way you want. Just like Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild, Orange and Grapes are true open-world games. Instead of having one centralized area for main content, surrounded by a bunch of filler side shit, these games spread their meat across the entire map, with almost zero fat to trim. If you feel like bullshitting your way through a boss that's 10 levels above you using drugs and capitalism, do it. If you want to turn your Pokemon into a Subway sandwich, then go for it, you sick bastard. You can start and beat this game in any order you want, and that is genuinely the coolest part about it. However, while Orange and Grape share similar gameplay structure with these Goliaths, there is a lack of optional content here that makes exploring this world boring and not worthwhile. Pretty much the only thing to do outside of the 3 campaigns is collectathon shit, like completing the Pokédex and shiny hunting. And sure, you have terra raids and picnics. Those activities are relatively shallow, and the only reason to invest time in them is to grind towards collecting. There are no side quests like in Legends Arceus, and no battle tower like pretty much every other Pokemon game before this. Not to mention the vast quantity of quality of life improvements that Game Freak goes out of their way to remove between every generation. Like, why remove the option to turn off battle animations? What does that accomplish? That being said, Larry. He is very sexy. Splitting up the story into 3 separate campaigns is a promising concept, but I wish there was more variety between them. The only options available are your standard gym battles, a sandwich quest where you fight a big Pokemon for a jar of mayonnaise, and bullying, which is sort of a combination of the other 2. There's a minigame before the boss fight, the boss uses Pokemon based on a specific type, and at the end you fight a raid boss Pokemon of a specific type. This could have been the perfect opportunity to reintroduce and build upon older features to shake up the outdated Pokemon formula. I personally have always dreamed of being a Pokemon coordinator when watching the anime as a kid, but I feel like what we got in Gens 3 and 4 were shallow minigames at best. Imagine a storyline where you focus on building a team around Pokemon contests instead of battles, or one where you work towards being a movie star with your Pokemon fleshed out to the same degree as the standard turn-based battle system. Sure, that would require delaying the game to give the developers more time, but that's the type of ambitious gamble Orange and Grapes needed to make it the breakthrough title everyone hoped it would be, instead of the good yet equally disappointing series we're used to that's always 10 steps behind its smaller and less popular competitors. Orange and Grapes run like hot doo-doo garbage. Every second I've played of these games has had some variation of pop-in, glitches, or frame rate drops. This isn't solely a hardware issue. If the crackheads at Sega can get Sonic Frontiers running at a stable frame rate on Switch, then what's Game Freak's excuse? There is no defending this. The sheer amount of performance issues on release are just unacceptable, but they're also very funny. Bro, look at the shadow, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? What is happening? Despite how buggy and fucked up this game is, at the end of the day, I had fun. Orange and Grapes are good games unlike these yahoos, but the fact that they can release unfinished and still outsell more competent and complete packages this year is a fucking crime. It just proves that popularity will win no matter how much it violates artistic integrity. I don't blame the people making these games. I blame the people marketing them. Because unfortunately, Pokemon is a franchise. It has to meet a deadline. The release of the games has to coincide with the anime, and the TCG, and the merch, and the manga. Which on its own is fine. Whenever a big budget game releases nowadays, there's always something extra that goes alongside it. But if meeting a strict deadline means rushing development and squandering potential, then we have a problem. The previous Pokemon game, Legends Arceus, just came out 10 months before this one, meaning the developers had zero time to analyze what works about it and how to implement that in Orange and Grapes. The improved catching mechanics? Gone. The dodge mechanic? Gone. The sound effect that plays when a shiny Pokemon spawns in Overworld I didn't get footage of because I couldn't be bothered to grind for hours just to get a 5-second clip of Pikachu with a tan? Gone. It's even more painful knowing that this was the experimental breath of fresh air the series needed. Developers were just given more time, they could have made these games a more polished step in the right direction. Could Orange and Grapes eventually get patches that make them better? Yeah, but it'll probably be like 3 bug fixes locked behind a $30 DLC, so hooray capitalism. It's really depressing knowing that every new Pokemon game nowadays is going to come out rushed, without living up to modern AAA standards, forever 10 steps behind its competition, and the only way things get better is if we don't buy them. But that'll never happen, because capitalism. There are tons of games from 2022 that deserve your money. Elden Ring, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope, God of War Ragnarok, but in their current state, Orange and Grapes are not worth it.